This is it.
Wow, look at this place.
Still can't believe the deal we got.
Where's my room?
Right up there, buddy.
We'll be back in a little bit.
Okay. Writer's block. I can't believe I just wrote that. Writer's block. There, again. Those two words are apparently the only damn thing I can write. I don't think it's been this bad since high school. Mr. Holder's class, an essay about Faulkner. Dan Kaplan, little-known author of Tramer's Way and Windsong, has run out of steam. Closed my eyes last night and saw a literary register article about myself. That was the first line. Paul wants 3 chapters next week, and so far I've got 2,000 words so sloppy I can barely read them. I cannot blow my schedule. Paul said Grofield's been very clear about what comes next if I keep slipping deadlines. Why did this happen as soon as we got here? This was supposed to simplify things, but so far it's been nothing but staring at a blank page. Maybe a walk will help, or a long drive, or a drink.
Do you think coming here will help?
It has to. Tommy rode into town with me today. He saw some kids his age playing on the swings at the park, and I could tell he wanted to go play with them. It got me thinking, did we swing the pendulum too far just to get him away from those bullies? Kids can bounce back quick sometimes. What if this is the worst thing we could have done? Then he asked how Daddy's book was going, and without even thinking, I said, "Great, my man." Felt awful right away. It's a white lie, sure, but why not be honest? When he was younger, he was just a bundle of physical needs, but now he's like a mental, emotional sponge. He's around Linda and me all the time, and I can see him changing every day in 1,000 small ways. That scares the hell out of me. What am I teaching him with a white lie?
Dan, we're back.
Vroom, vroom. Hey, watch this.
Ooh.
Paul, good to hear from you. Listen, things are taking a little longer than expected. I feel good about this one, but I haven't quite brought some of the threads together. It's just an execution hiccup, not a lack of ideas. This is the most complicated book I've ever tried to write, and let's just say I have a newfound respect for guys like Dickens and Joyce who can juggle 10 threads at once without getting lost. I'm figuring some of this stuff out the hard way, I guess you could say. Anyway, the outline I sent you is still good, those are still the beats, those are still the themes I plan to explore. I'll keep you posted, Dan.
Hey, look.
Nicely done, honey.
What's wrong with it? Did it break again? It broke again.
Barb, how are things? Is school still taking up all of your time, or is anything new going on? We've been up here for a week or so, and I can already tell it's going to be great for painting. There are hardly any distractions, and this house has a room they called the conservatory in the brochure, which really just means it has a lot of windows. Whatever they call it, it's a great space for working. The second floor blocks most of the northern light, but I'll manage. I took Tommy down to the beach today, and you should have seen how excited he was. I wish I'd brought my camera. He kept looking back up at the house like he couldn't believe it was so small from down there. He seems to have taken to this place really well so far, which is such a load off our minds. We didn't know what to expect, but so far, so good. Anyway, let me know how things are going. Yours, Linda.
Writer's block. I can't believe I just wrote.
Here we go. Blast off.
It's such a crazy thought, the three of us all alone in this house all summer. I never thought we could afford a place like this, but the price surprised us both when we saw it. I wonder if there's something wrong with it. Maybe it has a raccoon problem or a toilet that backs up. Guess we'll find out soon enough. Oh, and I'm painting again. I got set up today. I felt a buzz right away. So much time to work. I haven't had a space like this in forever, probably since I left the studio. I went straight into a new piece today, got lost, looked up to see it was 2 hours later. I think this new one has promise, though I still have some rust to shake off. Speaking of which, I'm going to go check on Dan and see if his new office is doing anything for him. He's pretty frustrated, but he has to figure something out soon, or this place won't be any different than home. Oh, yeah.
We'll have to find out.
Are there any other kids? Are there any other kids?
We'll have to find out.
Oh, yeah, maybe if I... I think we've done a good job of putting on happy faces for Tommy. If he knows there's something wrong, he's not showing it. We told him this is just a fun family vacation, and he seems to like it here so far. But this might be it for Dan and me. Neither one of us has said the word yet, but I know it's right there under the surface. We've been dancing around it. I can't even bring myself to write the word here. Writing it would be almost as bad as saying it, because once it's there, it becomes real, a thing we have to deal with. I'm not ready for that yet. We agreed to make this a fresh start. I meant it, I think he did too. Now we just have to treat each day like a new beginning.
Me too.
I promise.
Me too.
What if I... Can I see?
Hey. Okay. Is there something out there?
The entire world's out there. I knew we should have eaten something with that wine last night. My head is killing me. It was totally worth it, though. We put on some music and hung out on the couch, all cuddled up like we were freshmen again. He didn't talk about his book once. We got a little too into a discussion about whose favorite band from college was still the best, and we accidentally woke Tommy up. We got him settled back down and decided to call it a night, too. Well, except for... I better not write about that part. I called the co-op today. It isn't wildly expensive, but it sure doesn't fit into the budget. It was a bigger letdown than I thought, not being able to just sign up on the spot. It gets so lonely here sometimes. And I think Tommy's starting to feel it too. We try to play with him every day, and the woods here are pretty magical for someone his age. But kids need to be around other kids sometimes. He can only play with his cars so often. Sometimes I wish there were actual neighbors here. The only friend he's made is Davy, but seeing them at the park once in a while isn't the same as having someone to pal around with every day. It's summer vacation, and he's pretty much all alone.
Does that work?
Are you kidding me?
Hey, Molly. Hey, Pumpkin.
Is that a... You're kidding me. I'll get it later. Again? And when I finish my book in December,
Don't joke like that.
Writer's block turned into writer's fog or something like that. I never found my notebook. I guess it's just gone. Did we lose it in the move? Leave it at home? I ended up having Alice find out about Scott and Sarah by overhearing a phone call. That's awful. Having Alice eavesdrop on them completely kills the sympathy I've been trying to build for her. What a junk solution. But I had to get something down and move on. I guess that was it. Hopefully I can come back and fix it later. I'll take another look later. Again? Bad wiring in this place. I only met Rick once, at a family reunion that must have been, 15 years ago? Turns out he made his fortune by, get this, selling high-end pipes. The Sherlock Holmes kind, not the plumbing kind. He must have been a hell of an interesting guy. I mean, he found a niche and made his way in the world. You have to respect that. It makes me wonder, am I giving everything I have to this book, or am I leaving myself an out? It isn't announced yet. I could always pull the plug. I'd never get another advance again, sure, but there isn't a gun to my head. Unless I put one there. Metaphorically, of course.
Anne, I'm going to cut right through the pleasantries and ask you, who is this Ryan that Mom mentioned on the phone? Someone new? Are you trying to keep it a secret, or did it just slip your mind the last time we talked? Spill it! Things here are moving along, I guess. When we came up, I thought it would be great to have more dedicated time to paint, but I didn't realize it would be so isolating. I miss having more people around and having new ideas floating about. I got lucky in town last week, though. I found an artist co-op called Makeshift, and it seems really interesting. It's not too big, but there are lots of different types of artists there. I'll probably call and try to get more details. I don't remember if I told you this, but I've been thinking about going back to painting full time. Anyway, enough about me. Tell me what's up with you. Love, Linda.
Is that it?
Thanks.
Hmm?
What about your rocket?
I already played with it.
Barb, sorry it's been so long since I've written. Things have been hectic around here, and I'm trying to figure out a way to get things back on track. I don't really want to get into it, but we're getting pulled in a lot of different directions right now. Nothing hurtful, just competing priorities, I guess. Although those can get worse and worse over time. I mean, Dan and I, before we got up here, we'd started to drift. Look at that. I said I didn't want to get into it, and I did anyway. Enough about me. Please tell me you're doing well, and I hope this doesn't stress you out too much. I promise to write a happier letter soon. Yours always, Linda.
Will it make me smarter?
Honey, listen to me. You are smart. Dan and I had a good conversation today. Well, we'll have to wait and see if it was actually good, but I feel like I got my point across about family time. We've been getting a little frayed on the little things lately, and it reminded me of something Anne said one time. Love is a behavior, not an emotion. If something's important to you, you show it with your actions. We weren't doing so well with that before we got here. I told Dan my idea. I want us all to eat together at 7 every night, with family time after that. Tommy's wiped out by 8:30, so we'd get a solid hour and a half as a family, and then Dan and I could have the rest of the night to ourselves. And I think 7's a reasonable request. The rest of the working world knocks off at 5, right? It doesn't really matter what we do with the time, just that we spend it together. It's easy to make excuses when you've got a lot going on, which is why patterns help. I hope he feels the same way.
And then...
Just
Maybe like...
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have snapped. I just...
Whoa.
Just got back from town with the latest issue. Flipped to the back and there it was. My book in the up next column. Stared at it for 5 minutes. Feeling in my stomach was not pleasant. But now it's out there. It's terrifying and irreversible. Maybe I should have placed a full ad. But even like this, the book is out there. Thousands of people are going to read that list. To them, the book is exactly what they want it to be. Some finished, beautiful thing. If only they could see it right now. A bunch of jigsaw pieces on the floor. And I've got to put them all together. Fast. Alan, this letter might come from out of the blue, but do you remember when you told me about Bobby falling behind on reading? Looks like we're there with Tommy. We knew he was struggling when we came up here, but his teacher gave us a list of books for him to work on over the break and said we should see how he responded to the change in environment. She gave us a few sample readings and told us to keep an eye on how he was grasping the concepts. Tommy still isn't there, and long story short, the pediatrician in town knows a specialist who gave us some exercises to try. They seem pretty straightforward, but I wanted to write and see if you had any tips that helped you guys with Bobby. Damn. Just realized I didn't even ask how you've been. I'm sorry. This stuff is just a lot to think about. Dan.
What you doing?
Huh?
Oh.
We barely talked yesterday.
Wow, you're right. I guess we've just been so busy.
Does that...
I just checked that yesterday. Oh, never mind.
It's broke. Doing that.
Big news, Barb. I'm putting on a show. Can you believe it? I've already got butterflies. It's been so long. I'm glad it's a small gallery so I can ease my way back into things a bit. And I want to do it right. I'd forgotten how much work goes into things that aren't painting when it's time to put on a gallery. You know I could never stand all the logistical rigmarole. Plus I have a piece I really want to finish before the show. So much to do. I want to take it seriously and go through the whole process though, because if the show goes well, who knows? Hope to hear from you, and hope you can come, of course. Yours always, Linda. Oh yeah, maybe if I...
What is it, Mommy? What is it, Mommy?
I don't know yet, honey. We just put Tommy down and then we watched Alfred Hitchcock Presents. It was the one where the guy thinks a snake is on his stomach under the sheets, and they spend the whole episode trying to figure out if he's right or not. Dan hates snakes, so we were both holding each other, scared to death. It was great to have a normal evening again. We've been sticking to the 7 o'clock rule, and I can tell it's making a difference. We've started planning our days around making sure to be there, and we even have a new tradition. When we sit down, we each tell the family the best thing that happened to us that day. It's a small thing, but sometimes the small things can make a big difference. Oh yeah, maybe if I... Has it been 5 years already? I still remember the thought that blindsided me when I saw Tommy for the first time. He's my new creative work. TJ gave me such a look when I told her I was going to cut back on my painting, but she doesn't have any kids, so there's no way she could understand. It's hard to top creating an entire person. Maybe she thought Dan told me I had to stay home. That would have been a very short conversation. Still, I can't ignore the fact that it's time to figure out what on hold means. What would it look like to go back full time? Do I want to?
Having fun? Yep.
Faster.
Like this.
Cool. Can we go?
Right down there.
Did you see it too?
Hey.
Oh, I knew I saw it. Seriously? It just... I know I'm not crazy.
Off. Off.
Hey, what's wrong?
It's impossible to get into a rhythm right now. This place was supposed to create some peace and quiet, but I almost never get 2 unbroken writing blocks in the same day. I know I'll never get exactly the schedule I want, that's just a fact of life. But that doesn't make it easier to get good work done with everything else going on. Just gotta figure out a way to push through. No other choice, really. This book isn't going to write itself. I'm gonna put it like this. You're kidding me. It just never stops. Every time I plot something I think will hold together, it falls to pieces. This thing was supposed to be done months ago, but the further I get, the harder it is to make it all work. Nothing's ever as simple as it seems at first. I'll think about a problem for days, finally come up with a fix, and then realize it breaks something somewhere else. I can barely hold all the threads together. Sometimes this thing just feels too big for me and I want to burn it and walk away. But what else would I do? And the deadlines don't help either. I can't think harder or faster. This stuff comes when it comes, and getting stressed out about it just makes it harder to get the words down. Like right now, I'm writing about the thing instead of working on the thing. Damn it, Dan, get to work. Paul. Hey man, if I'd known my letter would set you off like that, I wouldn't have written. My fault. Let's both just calm down. I see now that it was stupid to ask if you knew any art agents. That's like you asking me if I know any professional sculptors. Dumb question, point taken. But believe me, no one's more worried about the schedule than I am. I think about it every day. I can't get away from it. Most nights I start thinking about it and can't stop. My heart starts beating out of control and I have to get up and try to work just to calm down. I'm not slacking off, man. I shouldn't have made you think I was focused on anything else. I'll get everything sorted out. Seriously, Dan. days of...
Hey, honey, what you doing?
Thing.
Anne, what's the latest with you? I hope you're doing better than I am. I'm going a little stir crazy. Dan loves it here, but he's just writing all day long, so he could be anywhere. I could use a change of scenery. I've walked every trail in the woods and even started a few of my own. It's great getting away from the city, but I wouldn't exactly call this roughing it. Tommy's certainly having a good time exploring the woods. Sometimes we go together, and if I'm in the studio, he knows he can play outside where I can see him, and to stay away from the cliff. Do you remember when we were kids trying to jump the creek in the woods behind the house? I think Tommy's getting into that phase now, climbing trees and all that. Oops, I got a little carried away there. You probably don't need to hear about all of our outdoor adventures. Sorry about that. Well, let me know how you're doing. Love, Linda. Oh my God. We just got home and wow. Now I wish we'd had a bigger gallery. It was packed. But I guess it's like a bar, being loud and crowded just makes people think it's cooler. What an experience. So many people said that the promo in the paper caught their eye and stood out from the usual notices. And I've got a call with the agent Dan found scheduled on Tuesday. I don't know how I'll feel in the morning, other than hungover. But right now, I want that rush again. I'm going out for a hike.
Okay, be safe.
3 days in, I'm still trying to figure out where to take the new piece. It's changing as I go, which is always exciting and sort of the point, but this one feels a little aimless. I keep snapping out of a daze and realizing I've been staring out the window for 5 minutes instead of working. When we first got here, I was excited to have a studio with so many windows and so much natural light, but now it feels almost like a cage. Why be this close to nature but not be, well, in it? Actually, cage isn't the right word. This place is beautiful, and there are so many more trees than back home. I guess it's more of a reminder when it's right there the whole time, not just an idea or something for the weekend. Anyway, back to the painting. I'm not going to get anything done on it sitting here writing. Be careful, honey.
That thing. Break again?
I've got to stay on the book. This is my chance to do something people remember, something that matters. If this one isn't good enough, there might not even be a next one. Certainly not one without all sorts of publisher strings attached. This is why we saved up enough to take the summer off. I'm out of excuses. Of course, a long weekend would be fun, but that's also the problem. How do you stay hungry when you've gotten used to weekend getaways? How do you recapture that feeling of being a broke college kid chasing a dream? How do you get back out on that limb again, scared it's going to break, but inching out anyway? Listen to me. Wound up so tight. Maybe taking one night off might help after all. I think the rough draft was just enough to keep Paul off me a little longer. I hated sending it to him like that, but it was way better than sending nothing. At least I can prove I was working, that things are moving forward. He seemed to like the ideas that were there, though of course he had a lot of feedback. Fair enough. It was a rough draft, and I can't imagine the hell I would have caught if I'd sent him an empty envelope. You know, could always be better.
How was work?
You know, could always be better. Penny, thanks so much for your letter. It made my day. Tramer's Way came out a while ago now, so I don't get letters like this too often. Writing can be a pretty isolating profession at times, which makes it a big boost to hear that someone out there is getting something from my work. Your support means the world to me. To answer your question, I'm indeed in the midst of writing a new book. I don't have a title or a release date yet, but I'm plugging away on it slowly but surely. I plan to finish it by the end of summer, and I truly hope you enjoy it when it comes out. Thanks again for your kind words. Dan Kaplan. Huh? Hey, buddy.
Hi, Daddy.
Can't believe it.
Anne, I just got off the phone with Mom. She told me about Grandma Joe. I know we expected it sooner rather than later, but this is hitting me so much harder than when Granddad died last year. Do you remember going to Grandma Joe's house after school on Wednesdays and playing until Mom got off work? How Grandma Joe always had a surprise for us? Even if it was just cookies in the oven, she'd always time it so the whole house would smell like them when we got there. I hope the minister captures those little moments because they don't seem as little now. I wish the circumstances were different, but it will still be good to see you at the funeral. What am I saying? You probably won't even get this until after the funeral. I guess I just needed to write anyway. Love, Linda. Now, I walked out to the bluff to remember Grandma Joe and say goodbye. And on the way back, I started thinking about what it really means to have a family, to make that your focus. She seemed to take such joy in being surrounded by her family, providing for them, taking care of them. I hope I never took that for granted. When I got back to the house, a question hit me that I can't get out of my head. What will Tommy think about Dan and me when he gets older? And what if Tommy has kids of his own? I can't even begin to think of myself as a grandmother. I haven't even been a mother for that long, and I'm still feeling my way through what it means to be a good one. At least I'll always have an example. I miss you, Grandma Joe. And I'll never forget you. I promise. So much for Ochoco. I wish I hadn't done so much research to find sites and trails, because now I keep catching myself daydreaming about them instead of working. I still need to get out of the house. I've done the Ridge Trail probably 15 times now, and it hardly seems worth it anymore. Finding new spots is half the point. At least Dan promised that as soon as things settled down, he'd come on a camping trip. I don't like him dictating our schedule like that, but I understand the stress he's under. At least he didn't try to shut it down completely. He says he's just trying to manage things the best he can.
Oh.
Why did it have to be the same day? Oh no. Joe's funeral's the same day as the signing in Eugene, and Paul says they can't move it. He'll understand if I bail because he knows Linda, but Grovefield is a different story. They won't give a damn why I missed it. They'll just get a memo and put it in a spreadsheet somewhere and write me off just a little bit more. And it's not just the timing. If I do the reading, I've got to get that chapter in shape. It's not even remotely ready for anyone to see it. Can't worry about what Paul says. He's my agent. He's supposed to stroke me. And what about Tommy? Oh no. Been so long. I could tell Linda and Tommy were disappointed, but I wouldn't have been any fun on vacation anyway. Too stressed about getting to the finish line. I did try to have a little fun with the bonfire, which could have been described as roaring, for a good 30-minute period anyway. Getting out of the house turned out to be a good idea too. Spending the night on the beach reminded me of a church retreat we did back in 7th grade. The smell of the bonfire gave me such a strong memory of a crush I had on Jenny something. Or was it Jennifer? I can't remember. But I do remember those flushed schoolboy emotions. I think I can use those for the scene at the dance.
Just be here for me?
Lynn, I'm so sorry. Tell me what I can do.
Most of you here knew my grandmother. For those who didn't, I truly wish you had. She was an example for all of us. Her warmth, her caring, and her smile were impossible to forget. It's still hard for me to believe she's gone. Without her, the world is... I don't know what to say.
Is she in heaven?
I'm sure she is, honey.
What?
Oh.
Did you see it? Seriously? Hello? That was not just in my head. Oh, hi, honey.
Hey, Mom. Hi, Mom.
What? What?
I thought Tommy was sleeping with us.
I'm checking to see if this is a fold-out. Showing up at Grandma Joe's funeral alone was so humiliating. Celebrating the life of a woman who put family first, and I'm standing there by myself, wearing a wedding ring. I can't even... I'm still too furious to write about it.
Still can't believe how many people showed up at the reading. Maybe I haven't faded into obscurity just yet. But forget about the publicity. That's fleeting. Won't matter in the end. The best thing was having a deadline and hammering on that chapter. I think I finally evened out the voice, and I think Scott's backstory is finally settled. Never underestimate the motivational power of potential public humiliation.
What about Tommy?
He can sleep with us. How's my man?
I don't know.
Good news! Mom called today with a change of plans. They made better time on the first leg of the trip than they expected, and they're coming to visit. Bad news, they want to come this weekend. Did Dan tell Tynan they could stay here for sure, or is that still up in the air? I'll ask after dinner. She sounded cheerful enough on the phone, though I can't help wondering if they took this trip because they hit another rough patch. I hope not. I hope they just want to see Tommy and have a classic Mears family feast, though maybe seeing how they've ended up will be good perspective for Dan and me. Speaking of which, Dad better not get nosy. I've told him 1,000,000 times that my marriage is not his business. Maybe I'll try the thing Christine told me. When someone asks you something private, just say, "Why do you ask?" Put it back on them and see if they've actually got a reason to get into your business. Yeah, I've got to remember to try that. We'll see how he answers that one.
Hey, Daddy.
Hey, bud.
Can Davy sleep over?
Let me call his mommy.
I took Tynan up on the book jam. He hasn't seen a word of my new book, and fresh eyes are priceless. He bailed me out on Tramer's Way. I hope he understands how much of that book worked because of him. I still remember when we were walking to the pond, and he had the idea about using newspaper clips and police reports. Of course, no matter how many times I tell interviewers it was his idea, they just keep giving me the credit. Maybe they just want the tidy auteur version. Oh well, can't change that. Let's just hope he has an idea for this one too. Freddie can't get here soon enough.
Here we go.
Good, all right.
Why you should do so?
How's it go?
Pretty good. What if
But he promised.
If he doesn't do it, I'll help you, honey.
Oh yeah, maybe if I... Hey, honey.
Alan, hey man, this is gonna sound odd, but I could use some advice. I'm in hot water here because, well, I've been drinking more lately. Man, there's just no good way to write that. I mean, I used to drink and write all the time in school. You remember that, right? I guess I got away from it when we got married, and definitely after Tommy came along. But he's in bed by 8:30 every night now. And let me be clear, I'm not blacking out or driving drunk. You know I'd never do something like that. I just have a few drinks while I'm working, safe and sound in the house. A writer who drinks isn't exactly unheard of. Wow, could I sound more defensive? But here's the hell of it. It's working. It's brought back that college hunger, that energy, and in the last week or two, the book's just singing. I don't even know what I'm asking here. Maybe I just wanted to start the conversation. If you get a chance, give me a call. Dan.
I don't know.
Write drunk, edit sober. Apparently Hemingway said that. Or maybe someone else did. It doesn't matter because it's true. To write, you have to be fearless. You have to make choices and plow forward. Surprise the reader, surprise yourself. Make something that matters, not something safe. What does drinking do? It suppresses inhibitions. Yeah, there are typos, but that's what copy editors are for, and it's not like I'm drinking all day. I'm fixing most of the stuff myself each morning. Or early afternoon, I guess. I'm not stumbling around drunk all day and pissing myself. I'm trying to create something they'll remember me by. No one can imagine how stressful it is unless they've tried it. The pressure's so bad I just want to give up sometimes. On those nights, a drink is the only way to turn my mind off and get some sleep. When the book is done, I'll dial it back. How's my little man doing?
I don't know.
If he uses that Hemingway quote one more time, pretty much every night he's either super focused on his novel or too drunk for us to spend a regular night together. That used to be our time. We would put Tommy down for the night, have a glass of wine, 2 at the most, and talk about our days or maybe listen to a record. Now, I'm lucky to get 1 night a week where he's sober and not writing. Most nights he has a bourbon. No, wait. Make that 4. And I read in bed until I fall asleep. He tries not to wake me up when he comes in, but you're never as quiet and graceful as you think you are when you're drunk, and in a dark room, no less. Of course I want his book to be great, but I also want my husband back.
How's it going, Tommy?
Okay.
Tynan and Kelly left this morning. I wish they could have stayed a little longer, but it was great having them. It felt just like college again. Fishing, having a few beers, talking about how we're going to conquer the world. Working through some issues on his book even gave me an idea for how to fix the logjam in Act 2. Funny how creativity works sometimes. I've got to remember to put him in the acknowledgments. Hey, Tommy. That's it.
That's you.
Why don't you stop at 2?
I'm fine.
Why don't you stop at 2? Mom tried to hide it, but I can tell when she's disappointed. I hate that they couldn't come, especially after they tried so hard to make time. Maybe if she'd called before they changed plans, it would have gone smoother. It's impossible not to think about the rough patches Mom and Dad hit without thinking about Dan and me. I should bring that up to him and see what he says. He's mentioned their history before. I'd love to hear his answer when I make the comparison. Can he talk his way out of that one? Barb, I know I wrote yesterday, but I need your advice. I think Dan's drinking too much. And before you start to worry, let me say he's not an alcoholic. It's just because of the pressure he's under trying to finish the book. But you know Dan's never exactly been a health nut. He isn't gaining weight yet, though even that's just because alcohol kills his appetite. So he's hardly eating at night, which is another problem altogether. I don't think he sees what he's doing to himself, and I don't know how to break through to him about this. Sometimes I just want to say it's not like I have to get drunk to paint, but I know that's not the most mature way to handle it. Sorry for dumping all this on you. I just wanted to get it off my chest. Do you have any advice about how to talk to him? Yours, Linda.
Had it.
Why should I
Barb, by the time you get this, we'll be on our way home, so don't write me back here. It's hard to believe this summer's almost over. So much has happened. The show, getting used to life up here, painting more than I have in years, losing Grandma Joe, figuring out where Dan and I are. Part of me doesn't want to leave, but I know it's time. They say you can't go home again. I think I know what that means now. I don't have it in me to explain everything here, but things will never be the same. I don't even know what home I'm going back to. The only thing I do know is that I'm ready to start painting again. For real, like I did before Tommy. I'm scared and excited and nervous all at the same time. I just wish I knew how we were going to make it work. I hope this finds you well. Yours, Linda.
Oh.
Where'd it go?
I finally got through to Dan, at least a little. He said I was nagging him, so I showed him the pamphlets Dr. Walker gave me. He couldn't explain away science, though he did try. I could tell he didn't like it, but he signed up to run 2 days a week. I wish it was more, but I'll take what I can get. I could even go full-time if...
You can say it. If I got a real
I could
job.
even go full-time if...
You can say it. If I got a real job.
Had it.
This could be it. An associate professorship at Hardesty? It's entry level, sure, but everyone has to start somewhere, and it's the perfect situation for writing. The sabbatical program alone makes the job worth it, and the thought of actually working with Professor May? Wait, I guess I'd be calling him Philip now. That'll take some getting used to. But moving's a big step. I can't imagine a new school with new kids would be easy for Tommy. I know staying in Laurenton would be better for him and Linda, but they aren't handing out professorships on the corner. This isn't the kind of offer you pass up without a very good reason. But I might have 2 good reasons. Tried to sleep on it last night. What a joke. You have to be able to sleep for that to work.
Hey, honey, what you doing? Hey.
I just talked things over with Dan, and we really have some serious thinking to do. The job at Hardesty sounds like a great opportunity for him, but moving would be so hard on us. I really want to join Art for All, and after everything we've been through with Tommy, it would be better for him to have some stability. I could even go full-time if Dan found a steady job, though I know he can't do that if he takes on extra tutoring with Tommy, and I'd never fault him for that. If we stay in Laurenton and Dan works with Tommy, I could still do the program part-time. Either way, it'd be better for Tommy and me than moving. But I know that professorship would mean so much to Dan. Can't everything be simple just once? How long's the drive?
2 hours. We'd have to move. Haven't had a drink on a weeknight in 2 weeks. Came up with a new slogan. Write sober, rewrite sober, rewrite sober. Hemingway it's not, but it's good to smooth things over with Linda and Tommy a bit. Gotta admit, I don't miss hangovers, but still, I do sometimes miss sitting down with a drink and a crazy idea. Paul, there were days when I thought this moment would never come. When I finish writing this, I'm going to pack everything up and drop the manuscript in the mail. My palms are sweating just thinking about letting it go. I had no idea how hard it would be to finish this one. It took everything I had, and it's hard to look back over the summer without laughing. To think the plan was to get away from everything and just focus on the book. But you can't get away from yourself. Life doesn't give a damn about geography. I don't know when you'll get this or where we'll be when you do, or what you'll think. I know what I think, but objectivity left the building months ago. Some days I think this is the one. Other days I have a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach that says my career is over. All I can do is drop this in the mail and hope. Here goes.
I think it's done.
You'd make new ones, buddy.
What about my friends?
Stop.
What? Whoa, what? Where did... It was right here. You're not crazy. You're not crazy.
free of worthless moe in a ship on which we're all a-stowing, no tattered hand in need of sewing. With every rock and every step, with every fish and every catch, I'm falling towards your safety net. Oh, grassy river, Everglades, we failed to grow a sugar cane. I never learned to show my fate to you, to you, to you, to